Alright, guys, welcome to the first segment of the Rogue Sports show, as I'm going to call it for now. And today, we are actually going to be talking about the Rudy Gobert trade. Uh, it is possibly the biggest thing right now next to the DeJounte Murray trade, which I don't think is as big as people making it, personally. As big of a player as DeJounte Murray is, and I do respect him, he is definitely going to be a great player continuing into this league. He already is very fine talent, very good talent in this league. It's not the most intriguing thing for me. We know what the Atlanta Hawks is, and we know what the issue is with the Atlanta Hawks now going forward with DeJounte Murray. So it isn't what's intriguing to me right now to talk about. What's intriguing to me to talk about right now is this Rudy Gobert trade, and not even the Kevin Durant trade request. Nothing to that right now, besides the fact that the report is put out that he has requested a trade. Nothing else to talk about. There just is nothing else to talk about. So let's get into this. Let's talk about this crazy trade. To put it the least, the Timberwolves traded for the Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert in a trade that involved Malik Beasley, as you can see, Patrick Beverly, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, and multiple first-round picks. If I remember correctly, Walker Kessler is their draft pick, so that would be technically, if I remember correctly, the total sum was 5. I might be wrong. It could be 4. But this is absurd what Rudy Gobert was just traded for. He is an all defensive presence when it comes to the rim inside the paint. I'd say a little I wouldn't say the perimeter. I would say within the 2 point range, he's definitely a threat. Once you start bringing him out to the 3 point line, he's very he hurts you more than he helps you. I would say that. Uh, so yeah, but you have Anthony Edwards. Let's just start at the base of this. Anyways, before I ramble on too much and get ahead of myself, this is a trade that I didn't expect. As much as I view Cat, like Carl Anthony Towns, for anyone that doesn't know, uh, as much as I view Cat as a KG like player, but as a better 3 point shooter than Kevin Garnett, um, Kevin Garnett is the better overall player between the two, but Kevin Garnett was his mentor towards the tail end of Kevin Garnett's career. If you didn't know, he went back and played for the Timberwolves for his last year, I think, maybe 2. I think it was his last year at least, but um, it might have been a couple more. Anyways, my memory's fading from that. But the point is that he definitely got the mentorship, and he plays more like a stretch. He's definitely played more like a stretch 5 than than a traditional center, and he's very much, in my opinion, the way he backs down, puts you in the post, plays on the rim, is able to score the 2 and the 3. He's definitely more towards a 4, in my opinion. Now you could definitely play a 4, like how you would play a traditional center. It's just really weird. And you don't have you have more 4s nowadays, so athletic and able to play around the perimeter that it's difficult, and Cat is would better be suited for that between Rudy Gobert and uh, himself, obviously. But it just able to space out and make Karl Anthony Towns play a position where I feel like he's gonna fit more naturally. But when it comes to Rudy Gobert himself, this is very odd. Uh, Not because of his B farm, but um, because of the fact that this didn't seem like it would be a fit. Nowadays you have teams playing very small ball, or teams like the Boston Celtics who have a center, but not like an all-star center, or like well, I say all-star, but all NBA defensive team was Robert Williams. So but uh you just nowadays the Celtics have that similar set. So where you see teams running that, or you see teams like Golden State, for instance, who are running a more small ball offense. Uh, Grizzlies kind of teeter between the two. Uh, they very much play both in a sense if you watch them, but they more with what they have, it's just very odd. But if anything, I kind of expected a Bulls trade. That was one that I was looking at. If it was anything, another one, I had another team in mind, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. If I can remember, I'll point it out and I'll give my explanation why. But the Bulls seemed like a more natural, easy, perfect fit. I don't know what the Bulls would have given up to do that, but for the team to apparent, I don't know the reports on it, but it's just surprising because I mean, obviously they got the Bulls got Andre Drummond, and that's a very similar fit. But he is more of a in the paint presence than he is a defensive presence now. Uh, it's just very odd to. I didn't even see the Timberwolves as a team to pick him up, and now it's almost seeming like, from what I understand, the GM that traded away Rudy Gobert is the same guy who actually just traded for him. So the Denver Nuggets GM is now the GM of the Timberwolves, and he, in a way, he is like, I'm gonna correct my mistake, and he's bringing him here to the Timberwolves. Uh, Basically having the two towers. I saw that earlier today, and I think it could work. I definitely do think it can work because I mean, back in the day, it was very obvious you wanted two tall guys. In 2012 or 2011, 2012, you had the Dallas Mavericks who had Dirk Nowitzki and Tyson Chandler. That was a perfect like match made in heaven. It worked out perfect. It brought spacing. It didn't. You didn't have to force Dirk into getting all the rebounds all the time. He was able to play the offense. He was able to go out and play the other play outside a little bit. When it came to the defensive end, he wasn't just structured to stay inside of the paint. Another one that I kind of think about. They're a little bit shorter on this edge, but they were a very good playoff team. They were never able to make it over the hump. Was the Bulls with Joakim Noah and Carlos Boozer back in the day? That was a really good team. Now, obviously, this team is much taller when it comes to its power forward and center. They also the Grizzlies don't have Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson is part of the Timberwolves now. So right now, what we're looking at is D'Lo, uh, Kyle Anderson, maybe playing the two. Hi guys. So I just realized that I said Kyle Anderson to play the two, and small forward. Just ignore me. I meant to say power forward. I was so caught up in talking about Anthony Edwards and the talent that he is, and the whole team meshing together, and Anthony Edwards being the next player that I was talking about, that I just mixed the two together and said shooting guard for Kyle Anderson. I know he's a power forward, so for now on, whenever I say shooting guard for Kyle Anderson, ignore me. I mean power forward or small forward. Thank you. I'm sorry again. Probably playing the two. I'd say Anthony Edwards, maybe playing the two, maybe playing the three. I don't know exactly how they're gonna do the lineup just yet. I would assume that would be the case, the initial one that I said, but this definitely shows that this is an all-out play because they also re-signed Cat. This is an all-out play to keep their guys here, show they have ambitions to win, and bring a championship to Minnesota, hopefully soon. I've always been a fan of Minnesota, the Timberwolves, their branding, Karl Anthony Towns, all of them. I've I love it. I've loved the team. D'Lo coming, I thought was a absurd like thing that I never thought was gonna happen. Obviously, he's performed well and then underperformed. We need the hopefully they get the consistency this year because there's a little bit more pressure taken off of him. He was the 3, now he's the number 4 with Rudy being there. So and with a big presence in the paint like that with Rudy Gobert, I can only imagine, and Cat, I can only imagine how defenses are going to try to play it because, like I said, Rudy's going to bring the attention to the paint, and he's also the defensive presence, where Cat is going to be playing from paint to block to literally the perimeter 3-point line from corner to top. It's the spacing is going to be absurd. I've seen some things where people are like, "Oh, this is stupid. It's not going to work. You're going to need small ball offense, or a smaller team than this. Big tall guys don't work." And you saw what happened in Utah, and I think this is different than what it was in Utah because of the fact of you have a guy like Cat who is able to play basically all around the court. I do really not like the fact that Patrick Beverley had to be a part of this. Hopefully, some way they're able to figure out a way to get him back. He is such a vital part to this team. What made this team even to a play-in team that brought them to the first round, that made them lose, like, it's such a vital piece. He brought an attitude that this team needed, and I hope they keep that attitude. I hope Anthony Edwards took that and is pushing it. Maybe even D'Lo. Uh, I'm excited. The starting lineup for now sounds really good on paper. It's what they bring in to support them because I mean Jared Vanderbilt and Patrick Beverley were their defensive pieces. So they're losing quite a bit of defense here. But seeing that they're making these types of moves, I cannot imagine them messing it up for the rest of free agency. I very much see that they're in on this team for the next 2 years at least. Um, I could definitely, I definitely see him making a round 2 playoff run. I I cannot say right now the conference championship. That's a little much because we still got to see how the meshing works. I genuinely do think this is going to work well because now you're taking more pressure off of Anthony Edwards trying to space around the floor. You're trying to take more pressure away from literally everyone's focus on what they need to do now is in one place. No one has to cover anyone else's bases because Rudy Gobert should just stay in the paint. Now, theoretically, in my mind, what I'm thinking right now is you play a zone, but obviously we've seen in today's NBA, people move so much that a zone may be too hard. Like, obviously teams still do it. They do a zone man type of coverage. But zone makes the most sense with this team. Zone man maybe. But it's only time can tell. If based on what I can tell, this team is going to be very good. This team is going to have to pick up on their defensive end as of right now, and I definitely see that they can do it. Anthony Edwards has very much shown, based on interviews, based on the way he's played, that he is willing to put in the effort to be better for his career, and for himself. D'Lo has showed time in and time out that when he's needed, he really, like Brooklyn, he showed that he could be that guy. Now we just need the consistency of you being the number 4. Otherwise, you're gonna get traded possibly next year or halfway through the season this year. That's just what it's looking like. And ooh, that's a trade. I don't know how the money works, but say the Suns. Okay, this is gonna sound a little ambitious here. Say the Suns realize they are struggling. They aren't able to get DeAndre Ayton back or get a piece for DeAndre Ayton, a replacement per se. And they just say, all right, well, let's see what we can get. And the Timberwolves trade D'Lo for Chris Paul. Again, I don't know how the money works as of right now. That would be an absurd trade. The value would probably have to be D'Lo and maybe a first round pick or two, maybe a first round and a second. I don't know how that would work. Although I don't even know if they have fucking draft picks anymore because they don't. They just gave up at least 5, including their recently drafted player. So that's part of the 5. So we'll just have to wait and see. I am very high on this team. I see this team being at least a 5th or 6th seed in the Western Conference, which I know is very hard when you got the Clippers. You obviously have the returning Golden State Warriors. You have the Grizzlies, who were the number 2 seed. You got Denver Nuggets, and and the Suns. If they can recoup, if they could bring in a center, if they can bring in a different piece at a different position, or one of their other players can step up, I mean, that's going to be a fight as well. I don't see the Suns being within the top 4 next year for the conference. They're definitely going to be within the top 5. Definitely within the top 8. But that's only time can tell, obviously. Unless D-Book has just developed his game into that way. But that would be an absurd situation and trade. But yeah, the Timberwolves, as of right now, the way they're formulated, I see them as a 5 or 6 seed in the Western Conference, second round out. And honestly, this is a team to watch. I will be watching their games. Rudy Gobert is a absolute perimeter talent, defensive talent, rebounding, blocking, presence. So this team is going to be very fun to watch up and down the court this year. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to find out how this team is going to do. And yeah, very competitive. Looking forward to the year coming. Do not sleep on these Timberwolves. They made it to the playoffs last year without without some pieces like this. So yeah. Anyways, the next video will probably end up being our NFL segment. Today, as of recording this, Baker Mayfield has just gotten traded, so look out for that. Look out for my opinion. If I haven't made it clear enough, when it comes to the Rudy Gobert, I think this is a great trade. They might have given up a little too much, but in the end, I think this is going to work out very well for them and make them title contenders within a year or 2. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this video. See you guys next time. Peace.